The Transformers will return after these messages.
Hey. Yeah, so for the 7 people watching this, hey, Miss Williams, Lily, and Mom. For the other 4 people, this is in the sun for American Lit, which you could probably get from the title. But this is in the same vein as my biology video, as in 40% actual content, and the other 60%.
Your body did not have enough protein, you would die.
I believe that the American culture values individuality over community. From beauty products to clothing to hairstyles, the American culture in the past few decades especially has put emphasis on the individual over the group by catering towards the uniquity and expression of the individual themselves. While American values have always reflected this approach by stressing individualistic principles as well as legally granting rights to the average American to increase personal liberty and populace, I believe that the idea of community has been largely lost in the American culture. Individualistic ideologies and principles are just as important as communalistic ideologies and principles. However, while individualism has thrived by being put in the spotlight, communalism has largely been left in the dark. Because our culture is so centered around the individual, people have become more isolated than ever. Ironically, in the age where people should feel most connected. People, especially young people, value family and deep relationships less than ever before, and lately have felt more depressed and alone in the previous few decades. This is further exemplified by the coronavirus pandemic, forcing people to stay in their homes, isolated and prevented from forming deep relationships and building upon previous relationships. Because of the culture in America, people don't seem to view this as a problem, and further pioneer the idea that individual success comes from the individual's efforts and theirs alone, while completely neglecting the role that their family and friends had in their success. I promise it's gonna get less preachy. Gender, race, identity, ethnicity have always played a huge role in American culture, subsequently world culture. Because of this, America has been coined the melting pot of all cultures. The term, first coined in the early 20th century, refers to America's status as the land of the free, attracting peoples of all cultures, races, and ethnicities to the United States. This is further exemplified by New York and California, the main centers of immigration from Europe and Asia respectively. Because of America's varied peoples, it has the unique trait of extreme diversity. A single street in New York, there could be an authentic Italian restaurant, and right next door a Thai fusion restaurant, and right across the street a Mexican restaurant. This blending of cultures and peoples allows all individuals to coexist with one another and integrate each other's cultures into everyone's lives. Diverse voices themselves have also shaped American culture, cemented themselves as uniquely American, like the jazz movement from the early 1920s and 30s, and the women's rights movement lasting throughout our nation's history, and the pop movement cementing itself in the late 20th century, have all been examples of how single demographics have shaped trends and the entire American culture itself. Seeing so many different voices from so many different places is so refreshing and truly illustrates what it means to be American. Now, Ms. Williams, this doesn't apply to the other 6 people. I merged that one and that one together into this one mega section, so just bear with me here. How did I feel about the course overall? It's pretty neat. It honestly surprised me to see how much the course emphasized the early 20th century and also pre-Constitution America. Personally, I really enjoy learning about the 1920s and how the individual's culture, architecture, music all shaped the era. On the other hand, personally, I am not the biggest fan of pre-Constitution America. Now, don't get me wrong, there are definitely parts of Native American culture and colonial America that I do like, but for the most part, and especially on the Native American side, I find their mythos and culture largely uninteresting, and also the Puritans are just too dreary, joyless, fanatical, and weird for me. Just not a fan. Not a fan. As for what I wish to see in the course, I really enjoyed everything after 1778. It would have been nice to see a little more post-World War II content. I say a little more, we didn't cover it at all. We stopped with Great Gatsby, really. I don't even know if there's any good literature from the 50s and 60s. I haven't looked into it. I just think hippies are funny. It also would have been nice to learn a little less about how the Puritans thought and they needed to live these pure, sinless, joyless lives to get into heaven, even though their fate was already predetermined at birth. So what's the point? And just maybe a little more of how television shaped American culture and how they viewed the Vietnam War. Yeah, I know it's a literature course, but American is half of the title, and we went over a lot of sociology anyways, so it just would have been nice to talk a little more about values and culture post-World War II. I don't know, just would have been neat. As for groups I would like to hear about more, Hispanics are cool. Don't know if they have any good literature, but Hispanics are cool. Also, how about hippies? I'm gonna get canceled. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you got something out of it, or at least found it maybe a little entertaining. I do not know how long this video is going to be, but I hope I don't ramble too much.
We now return to the Transformers.